I was just opening the agenda to see if there's anything there, but I mean, we don't need to run it formally. I'm the only one who is going to join from our side because the rest of the team is out. Um, and I don't know if someone else will be joining. We had some increased interest right after the CF day. We had a couple of conversations with various people, but then it became a little bit more quiet again.
Yeah, Tim just linked me a PR that he was looking at that I now started looking at. But anyway, I'll stop. I can do that later.
Yeah, I don't have anything to say about it other than I'm glad. I like this instances state thing you're adding
Mm-hmm.
to the app workload. That's
Oh,
been like
yeah.
a known deficiency, I think. The fact that we're like looking at the pods directly.
Yes, yes, we're trying to now do this properly because we start defining our own runners in SAP,
Uh-huh.
and we really start needing this abstraction. And we
Great.
also identified that service bindings IO is getting in the way a little bit because they are also targeting not the upper quote but the stateful set directly. So we actually plan, we don't know yet how it is going to work out, but we plan to re-implement it ourselves because the projection of the instances shouldn't be a big deal, and their webhook approach is a little bit getting in our way,
Mm-hmm.
causing undesired restarts and things. It has been working as an initial thing so that you don't have to write it yourself from scratch, but we believe maybe we just project ourselves, it might end up being simpler.
Yeah, I think as long as you project it in the same manner, like keep that like service binding root environment variable and put
Yeah,
them down, it shouldn't matter.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. We want to do a different implementation of the spec, and this is actually reinforced by they are actually introducing this to Classic CF now. So they're honoring the same spec. So I think that's a perfect match then, because we also want
Mhm.
to achieve some sort of compatibility. So yeah,
Yep.
I think this service binding implementation is really useful if you don't run Kurifi, like if you just do cloud native apps, because then you don't care. But if you have your own controllers, it doesn't need to be Kurifi necessarily. But if you have your own controller, then it's maybe a little bit getting in the way. It's a nice way to hook into the whole scheme if you don't have other means of control, which we happen to have.
Mm-hmm. One question I had was what are you planning to do for logs um without going to the pod directly?
We are currently working on pluggable log cache implementation. So uh, I don't know. We have the PRShare openings actually towards this. There's already something that we merged that implements gauges.
Okay.
It's a very batteries included naive implementation. We pretty much dishonor all the parameters and return you whatever the metric server would normally
Mhm.
get, but we get to this contract so that we don't have to reach down to the to the nuts and bolts level. And then what we're doing now with the states is related because for the stats endpoints in process and apps, you actually have to have a way to look at states. And then for metrics, we can do the same thing that Cloud Controller does, and we can just hit the log cache. And if we get any envelopes, we can fill in. If not, it will be whatever is reported by the upload workload.
Cool. Yeah, that makes sense.
Mhm.
It's kind of how it worked in CF for K8s as well.
Yeah, maybe I didn't look there, but we looked at the
There's
other
nothing to
implementation.
reuse there or anything. It's just
Yeah.
like we were running log cache and feeding it from K8s metric server and stuff.
Mhm.
But cool. Yeah. I don't have anything specific. I just joined today because I for once I had a spare slot and I saw this on my calendar. I was like, oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's cool. But
it's actually pretty nice seeing you. You're welcome to join more often. We'll be glad because yeah, if you have some feedback for the things that we're doing, if you have some spare time, I will be really glad to to hear your thoughts, both of you.
Cool.
Yeah, I'll definitely try mine.
So yeah, I don't know if you've been following along. We released the better part of managed services, and now we are starting some first steps towards user management, and like the UA is already a parameter. If you remember, back in the day, we said SAP wants to introduce the UA, so we have done some preliminary steps towards that. So yeah, good times. We will probably look into paging, which is probably going to be a little bit ugly. Don't know how this one will turn out, but yeah. So maybe we'll also draft some proposals in the near future if you're interested, and we'll be also glad to hear feedback there as well. But we'll post in channel, so I guess if you're following along, you'll be able to see this.
Cool.
Sounds good. Yeah.
So what's the situation at your end? Do you foresee some activity, increased activity in the near future, or I mean from your side?
I think we're not looking at bringing CF to K8s in the same way. So I very much doubt there'll be an increased activity from our side.
Okay.
I think that's
I
fair
mean,
to say.
because I approached you about the leads, I didn't want to be offensive in any way. I
No,
hope,
I completely understood.
yeah,
You know, it's something
yeah,
that's been on my mind, and I've thought about doing a couple of times. So no, that totally makes sense. I
yeah.
thought about nominating Danielle as a replacement, but I figured I didn't want to muddy the water, and we'd do that separately if that was appropriate.
I guess we don't really need to take leads if we don't have two time zones anymore,
Right.
because we're such a small group, like 3 people basically in the same company, and then we have a couple of people we collaborate from Stack IT and Any9s, and like there's some people from the community that are looking into this every now and then, like and but we're running the thing right now, and I guess we should just take over the leads. I also approached Andrew, but he hasn't replied yet. I mean, it's nothing urgent. I just wanted to avoid. It all started when we get some warnings for some of our former colleagues who are probably not even with the company anymore, and I was
Right.
like, okay, someday we're going to just get warnings for leads, and it will be a weird situation, and that's why I wanted to approach it, because if you wanted to keep your positions on paper, that's totally fine with us. But I would advise then just make sure that you're not inactive or anything. Just every now and then do something in the community. Yeah,
Right.
works both ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, I personally want to keep involved, but it's more of from like I guess a free time perspective, unfortunately.
I mean, both of you remain on the list in the team, so you can actually open PRs and do stuff. And I think that shouldn't change really. I was more concerned about leads and all that, but it's not a big concern, as I said. It's just it started looking weird, and like because we have some people joining, and like they join one of our currencies and the leads are not there. It's just me, and I'm giving the TOC update from like 6 months and so on. That's the motivation, I think.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know, is inactivity based on per working group or what?
I think it's just based on the contributions to the organization.
Okay, because I have I have more cloud controller activity than I have Karifi these days, which is unfortunate.
But I think that should keep you active.
Yeah.
Which probably means that my concern about the leads falling out as inactive is not realistic, right? Because you're probably contributing in Cloud Foundry, so
Yeah, I
it's
think
you have CF deployment stuff
I have
going.
CF deployment and K8s and that kind of stuff, and Birdrock has Diego and those components. So I think we'll all stay active. The folks that dropped off left Broadcom, and so
Yeah,
they
that's what I
just
figured.
stopped contributing completely. But I still
Okay.
agree that it's not ideal that the leads, aren't consistently coming to the meetings and aren't consistently working on the project. So
Yeah, unfortunately, meetings are a little bit sporadic. We even thought maybe we should link the agenda into this reminder. I don't know if you find the reminder useful, but maybe if the agenda is empty, meetings cancelled or something like that, so that if anyone wants to come, they'll just have like a couple of hours, maybe 2 hours, to add items to the agenda. Although we're not sure about this because this is probably going to make people who just want to join and say hi more reluctant to do that because they don't know what to put. But yeah, we're thinking about optimizing this because the meeting is not particularly heavy. Last time it was me and Ram talking
yeah.
about KubeCon in London. So yeah, we're trying to figure it out. But you're totally welcome. I mean, I'm more than happy to collaborate with you if you have the chance.
Yeah, hopefully it's a case of having need to have time to work on things. But yes, I'd love to get back into to parts of it.
As far as I asked you, Dave, in the chat, but I guess like doing a little bit more intrusive things right now is not a problem because you don't have continuous deployments and things that need to stay alive. Because we still, like in the latest release, we did a little bit of a breaking change where we modeled one more relationship. Like we put a label on the objects, like apps are labeled with their space, and this helped us improve the lists immensely. And we had to do a migration job. So we still try to keep compatibility, but not at all costs. And we tend to introduce new stuff as experimental so that we can tear it down completely and like do it in other ways. Like for services, I think we have tested with Spring, with the Spring implementation, which SAP uses heavily in-house. I think there will be ready pretty soon to lift even the experimental thing because implementation seems to be working well. Although it's not complete, we don't support updates and all that, but yeah, it's just out of scope for now. I just wanted to double check that by doing some more involved changes, we're not causing any particular pain on your end.
Yeah, no, I think we're like I say, we have no commercial basis on on top of Karifi at this point, and so I think whatever you need to do is okay at that point. If obviously if you want our feedback, then we're happy to to take a look and collaborate. But that's yeah, not gonna be a problem from our perspective.
Cool. Okay. Anything else?
No,
Nope,
I don't think
I
so.
don't have anything either.
Cool. Yeah, as I said, it was a pleasure meeting you, and I hope we keep in touch in the future. And yeah,
Yeah,
let's
definitely.
just continue our day then, if we don't have anything more to discuss.
Cool.
Have a good evening.
You too. Have a nice
Bye.
day. Bye bye.
Bye.